share will be shown on the town's YouTube channel. Please act accordingly. Our meeting link is on the agenda on the town website, as is our link to Building with Nantucket in Mind and Building Wisconsin in Mind. Thank you, Wisconsin Trust.
Building with yourself.
And others. And there is no addition of Building with Yourself in Mind. It's all about Nantucket, folks. Let's see. HCC related comments and or concerns can be sent to HDC public comment at nantucket-ma.gov. Comments are due by 8 a.m. the Monday prior to the meeting. All said, can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Those present is Angus, Abby, Val, myself, and Connie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Do we have any questions for our preservation planner? Holly Backus, and I was trying to think of a good name for the position you're monitoring today, but it didn't come quickly to mind. Questions for Holly? Holly, any CLG or other comments?
Not necessarily, since we had our meeting last week, and thank you for those who are able to attend. I did also just want to mention that we have about a couple of the applications on for this evening, since we're here. You have 2 old business applications under old business 414 to be held per the applicant, which is 1 Cherry and 7 Maxi Pond. Other than that, you all have my comments, and I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So policy related question, are you aware of any abutters for 1 Cherry or 7 Maxi having contacted us?
Not in the recent past, Mr. Chair. We don't have anybody in the queue either. But I believe any past were at the last meetings for 1 Cherry, but nobody's reached out to staff.
Okay, and then the follow-up question is, when did we receive the respective requests?
1 Cherry was right before the meeting when they realized they didn't have a quorum, since Ray is not here this evening. And the other one was actually yesterday afternoon. And I think I sent an email this afternoon apologizing to the board by not forwarding that on when I received it. I was in the middle of moving my office.
Okay, but it was yesterday afternoon.
Yesterday afternoon, absolutely. Yep.
All right, so if we have any abutters who have an interest, then it will be the first, well, they will both be the first time that each application has been held at the request of the applicant's agent. In the instance of the first, it's based on a quorum, which is recognized as a waiver of, as a potential demerit. I'm just looking at the, we have that rule where if you don't contact us 2 weeks in ahead, so abutters can be informed if there are any. I don't anticipate a problem with either of them, but I just wanted to make that clear. Yeah,
If it's because one of us isn't here.
then we waive.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
One of us who are sitting members at the time.
Gotcha.
Okay. We have no consents to review. All right, do we have Ridgevale here for 8 Kidder Lane Pool Hardscape?
Mr. Chair, I think we only have, oh, we do. Let's see.
No one's signed in.
I have 2. I don't know what Andrew is here for. Is that him?
Okay, so,
Andrew is for the church.
okay, so we're gonna hold numbers 1 and 2, 8 and 10 Kidder Lane respectively until 4/4. Okay. That moves us to Oliver's Way, lot 31. Matt is here. Oh, and thankfully there's a few of them. Good afternoon, Matt.
Matt's always here.
This year, you're getting ready your board, and this is myself. Ray is absent. Abby, Angus, Connie. Do we have Carrie and or Joe online?
Yes.
Both?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna take them in the order that are on. I don't know why they're here in that order, but Carrie will be sitting. And on the next one, it'll be Joe. Okay, Matt, when you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just gonna share. Where's away? There we go. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll just give it a second to load on the screen here. So what we wanted to do is to show you the site plan, and I tried to explain how this was, quote unquote, a subdivision of sorts. This was one larger parcel. It's since been divided up into 3 parcels. And the way that it is subdivided is there's Oliver's Way, but there's also 2 parallel driveway easements that run in front of this structure. And so in effect, it's essentially in a corner lot. And that's why we talked a little bit about the orientation. Now, whether or not these 2 abutters merge that to one way or keep a grass strip down the middle, either way, it's an easement. You can't build on it. And that's going to be the way that both of those parcels, lot 29 and lot 30, access their property. So when we did the site analysis, we kind of treat it as a corner lot. And so that as these neighbors drive by, it kind of sits as if it's on the corner. That's the concept. And then we indicated, again, this was just kind of a conceptual landscape plan, but the idea is that the backyard is the backyard, and the parking is the parking. We are showing that zoning shed, which I know is not part of this application. I know, Mr. Chair, you expressed some reservations about that, but I wanted to just kind of show you how and why the orientation is the way it is. Again, the landscape plan will probably come in as a separate application, but just conceptually, we wanted to show you what the concept was.
Okay, and then Matt, just a couple of quick, a question and then a clarification. The driveway, the common driveway is gonna be what material? I know it's not part of this application, but.
I would anticipate, I mean, again, however they want to do it, but I don't think it's planned to be asphalt. I'm guessing it would be like some kind of compacted gravel. I'm guessing gravel would probably be the most.
Okay, and then along those lines, is it going to read like a driveway or a wide driveway, more like a way?
It's a great question. I mean, I think, so the one that subdivided the property is actually, I believe they reside at lot 29. And so whether or not those 2 lots want to like merge to just kind of one wider gravel, drive, but there does need to be, you need 2 points of access. So like I said, no structures will ever be built there. They're certainly not going to put an alley of trees in that grass strip, but we just wanted to kind of give you an indication of the area in front of this lot will be specifically dedicated to a way, if you will.
Okay, and then, what was the other question I had? That's,
I have a question too.
Abby,
'Cause
please.
I'm still not oriented correctly. It's Oliver's Way is off Burnell Street.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I think that that was through you, Mr. Chair. I believe that was previously like an unnamed like way or access point. And then when they did this 3-lot subdivision, they had to make it a road, and therefore it's Oliver's Way. So it's officially a road. But again, those other 2 lots will need access, and that's the way it's like subdivided. So we've just conceptually always understood it as being a trafficked way driving in front of this house, if you will.
Okay,
I've got a question as well.
thank you. Angus?
In the elevations, I noticed it was just confusing. So like on page 11, where it shows what would be the front elevation, it says south proposed, but wouldn't that be east?
The east face is the common driveways, correct?
Yeah.
It actually east, yeah. East
East.
faces the common driveway. So I think that in the previous submission, Angus, I think we mislabeled those, so I apologize. So the image on the screen, east faces, the front faces the common driveway.
Okay, so that was the old
Yeah.
proposed.
Yeah, I apologize
Okay.
for the confusion.
Okay, thank you.
So Matt, we probably, I mean, I think it would be beneficial just to bubble the change,
To the, or
update the new ones to bubble it. Or
Yeah.
just correct the old ones so it's consistent.
Yeah,
'Cause
no, I
It's
apologize.
not as if you actually shifted or rotated on cardinal points.
No, I think it was
I
just
think
a,
it'd just be less confusing down the road as if you just correct the annotations and then put it
the
in.
cloud them. Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Right, but in the prior set, they were on.
They
Um,
were,
All I'm
they were
saying is
mislabeled.
Correct the prior set so that when it shows up in these drawings, it's copacetic. Okay.
We were hoping that mess up
Any
would
other
just go away.
questions?
Well, if I could,
No.
through Mr. Chair too, we made some revisions to the structure itself. So just really briefly, so east elevation, which is, face, which we're considering the front, which faces the two driveway, the easement, if you will, of the way. We changed the dormer to a gable, just so that it was a little less, I think that there were some comments and some feedback about the size of the roof of that shed dormer terminating, and so it's more de minimis. We also merged, I think Ray had mentioned this. So if you look at the previous east elevation, there was the eave was exposed and there was a secondary additive mass that sat below it. And I think that one of the suggestions was to just merge those two. So that's what we've done. We also kind of broke up the cross buck railing detail so that there's an intermediate post. So that was a big change there. We also reduced the second floor deck pretty dramatically by about 3 feet. And I think that that was the majority of the revisions.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
with that, look forward to comments from the board, Mr. Chair. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see, Abby, you all right?
I don't know if I still have, I had vertigo last week. I
Oh,
don't know
no.
if it's still the problem, but
Oh, no.
okay, I just want to make sure I'm
If we move the tablet around for you,
You
does
don't-
it make it better or worse?
it worse. So I just want to make sure. So when you're taking a right, so on Oliver's Way, this house, the front of the house faces south?
East.
East.
So if you don't go on to Oliver's, what you're looking at is the east elevation. You're looking at this elevation.
Yeah. So if you're driving down, if this perspective, you're driving down Oliver's Way and you're just about to take a right. So this is literally at the corner of the new way. And then this is Oliver's. So that's the face.
So another, if I may, another way to say it is the front facade is oriented to Oliver's Way.
No, towards the driveway access, if you will, the way.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I was thinking Oliver's, that was Oliver's Lane and this is Oliver's Way. I thought this was actually the easement was being named.
Yeah, no, the road that formerly was a way.
Gotcha.
So it's a corner lot. And so this view, 3D view A is really what you would see at that corner of the lot, if you will.
Gotcha. Okay, Abby, you wanna,
Comment?
yeah,
No, I think it's a good looking building. I was just surprised that we could get 3 lots in there. Because I know that area pretty well, having grown up down the street a ways. So, yeah, no, I've got nothing.
okay. Let's see, Connie,
Um,
give you a chance.
Oh, thanks. Matt, I appreciate the changes, especially that shed dormer on the east. I have no concerns. Think it's appropriate. Thank you.
Thanks, Angus.
Can we please go to the site plan? I think it's 7.
There's
So
just a
There's
delay.
one,
there.
no, that's rendered, exactly. So here's Oliver's Way, right? Or no?
Uh,
This is Oliver's Way. And I can understand why there would be a privacy screen here because there is traffic on these 2 lots coming back into these lots. So how I'm reading this is that the front of the house is really the side of the house that you really, unless you're going to one of these lots back here, you're not really getting this orientation. And that perspective that we were shown just now looking this way is really not going to happen until you get to here. And it's then no longer really going to be looking this way. It's going to be looking this way. So I mentioned this the last meeting, and my concern is that we're not getting a front door facing the front of the house towards the street. We're looking at the side of the building and we're looking at the whole backyard with the pool and cabana. And to me, that's not appropriate. The architecture, however, I find appropriate. It has many of the characteristics that are typical in that neighborhood, but the orientation is not at all appropriate in my mind. The whole, what would be the front is a parking lot on the side of the house. Thank you.
Matt, briefly,
Just really quickly, the one thing I would say is that the anticipation along that, this is to Angus's comment, is that along the way, it would be privet hedge, something that's not over, say, 4 feet, if you will. And that's why we tried to indicate that the area that's the back of the house, that would probably be the taller plantings to really minimize visibility, like things that are over 6 feet. So you're really not seeing the back. And the only other thing I want to point out is that there is a front setback of 35 feet, which you can see here. So it really kind of squeezes the house, and it's just the orientation of the lot and the easement. So, but I see what you're saying, Angus, and we tried to represent that in the perspective to show that there would be a standard 4-foot privet head along the facade of the house, because we want people to see the face of the house. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
sure, thanks. Let's see. Connie, we did you. Carrie.
I agree with Angus. I think it should have more of a presence on Oliver's Way rather than the driveways that are coming up. Just seems like with a brand new site and a brand new house, you could address things that just sort of make sense for the whole area. And I don't see this really as appropriate. I do agree it's a nice house, but I just feel like the pieces are in the wrong places. The pool is, along the street, whereas you've got this nice long 1-story mass off the back of the house, which could be off the side of the house because the front of the house could face Oliver's. Then you could hide the pool and create privacy for that. So
You couldn't.
that's all I got.
Thanks, Carrie. Can you go back to the site plan?
This is why I'm confused.
All right, so this is where I'm on this. I would prefer, and this is outside of our jurisdiction, so I'm saying prefer versus saying this is what I believe is appropriate. Well, actually, I believe it's appropriate, but I also would prefer. And I understand there's other factors involved here with respect to the easements. But if this is going to face, well, let me back up a second. We've approved similar layouts on Cannonberry and others that actually face, I think, Ridge Lane, and the driveway is on Ridge Lane, but the address is Cannonberry.
Yeah.
And the pool and the cabana are visible from Cannonberry, subject to the screening requirement. Which has filled in pretty nicely, so you actually don't see it, but you see the privet hedge like you see in Wisconsin. So this isn't, to me, it's not that ever any applicant is any approval is a precedent for another application, but there is some precedent there in a sense. Regardless, I believe it's more appropriate for this configuration for the driveway entry to be, this is option A in my mind. The driveway to be off of what is known as 3029 easement. Now, the other part of that is, and I think it would be appropriate given the subdivision and for the HDC, but again, outside of our purview, is if there was a combined driveway, at least for the length of this lot, within those 2 easements, that looked like a way, not saying asphalt, but something that, because then you could have, it would make sense in my mind, and I think to people and life safety and all the rest of it, to have that common driveway. Flip flop, mirror and then rotate the driveway for this structure so that you pull in off of that way, that common driveway, and then all the other issues go away because the front of the house is in fact the front of the house, accessed from the common easement. Now, I know there's a lot more involved in that. Not only do you have two parties, I don't know where this is in the process.
Mhm.
I know with planning board, it would have been an easement for lot 30 and lot 29. I don't know if lot 31 enjoys rights in that easement, so that might be, there may be a hurdle there, again, outside the purview of the HDC, but that's my option A.
Mhm.
My option B is that there would be, a way to frame the perspective we saw as you're coming down Oliver's Way with additional street tree on. Yeah, you want to do a quick. The side perspective. So what I'm imagining is that there would be some type of a street tree aligning with that. I'm not suggesting the zoning shed is provable, but that location. And this privet hedge is kept low all the way around the parking area. If the parking area is left on Oliver's Way, and as you're coming down, the parking entry is left on Oliver's Way, and if you're coming down Oliver's Way, what you are seeing over a 4-foot hedge is the front of the house, framed by, with a driveway opening, framed by two trees with underlying privet. So it actually creates a framework for the visual understanding of how this structure relates to the street address and so on and so forth. So that's, for me, can we go back to the site plan?
Yeah, and that literally was the intent, is to keep the facade of the structure open. And you can see we kind of indicated, again, obviously not a landscape architect here, but you can see that this line here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, this one and this, the idea is to really make this zone private. I mean, the reality is because of the setbacks, it creates a fairly long and narrow envelope. And one of the reasons to not have the facade face Oliver's Way is that it's just so narrow. You really don't have a backyard. You have kind of more of a side yard.
Right.
And I think that if we keep the facade of the structure open, where this is all lower plantings, and then as you work your way around the perimeter, that is like taller. And again, I'm not a,
Right.
you
I get you. So for me, that street tree shown in the top right of the site plan would be supplemented with a specimen tree that is on the lower side of what's shown as the zoning shed. So when you're coming
Gotcha.
down the street,
Yeah.
Oliver's Way, you see the front of the house. Now, for me, I'll just comment, given the setback is not the lowest dotted line left to right, dash line, on the site, it is the one closer to the pool. My concern with rotating this so that the front faces Oliver's Way is that in fact, the pool, well, we're moving the whole house closer to hide the pool, or the pool will be on the side of the house, literally, because it is then the side of the house versus the back. So for me, the orientation of this, the appearance of the orientation of this being that it is accessible from that easement area is the most important. If the driveway can't actually be accessible from there, it becomes more important.
know,
And am I clarifying my?
yeah, I think so.
position too?
The only thing I would say is I think the way that they've designed the two easements, and it's smart, is that it's like, look, this is your easement and this is your easement. Whether or not they merge it is going to be something that's up to them. And then I think that if we have access to, that's something that would require permission and probably have to be written into a deed. So obviously it's a little bit more complicated, but I mean, through landscaping, if we develop a landscaping plan more, that might be, more helpful too. So.
I wonder, I don't know where the rest of you guys are on that. I'm not trying to persuade anybody, if it changed anyone's perspective.
I think somebody has their hand
If it's
raised.
something that we're looking for to see more information on, I'd want to see the rendering, modifying the trees, putting the plant material in place, showing where on Oliver's Way, you know, I'd be wanting to see a view, a perspective view from here and from here, at least,
Mhm.
with the landscape material, and even here. So that we have a real better understanding of what it is we're looking at. And the alternative, I don't know that you have, well, it looks like you've got, well, Connie, where were you on the tracks this way with the plant material comment? Because Matt, I think you made that comment after you had commented.
Right. I, I think the architecture is appropriate. I don't have any concerns about the architecture. You know, I'm with you on the orientation. If we somehow even can designate that the front of the house is the, you know, the front of the house, then I'm
So
okay with it.
As you're coming down Oliver's Way.
Correct.
And then Carrie was Oliver, front on Oliver's, at least one before I had a chance to speak and you clarified some of the landscaping. Carrie, is it worthwhile to you to see perspective rendering of the landscaping modified to frame?
I can picture it. I think
Okay.
really having the pool on Oliver's Way is something that I just find that we shouldn't allow. I mean, we have allowed them, but that doesn't mean we should continue to allow them. So I would say the easy solution is to just change where the pool house is to hide the pool, you know, flip flop them. And that would take care of that for me. I think the band of windows on that first floor with the big second floor above it just seems a little heavy to me over all the glass. And that is a visible, it's a very visible corner from the opening on the southeast corner, right there on the left of this perspective. So I might want to see that less glass. So it's proportionate with the rest of the glass that's on that
The front
corner.
of the house.
Right there.
Mhm.
We can do that.
And Angus, you were pretty clear. Has your position changed at all with respect to framing the front or not? I'm just trying to give Matt clarity of what his consensus is and so he can make changes.
Right. So examples have been brought up about, you know, a house faces another road, but you go along it. But there's no road. It's somebody's driveway, and then it's the back of a lot that faces Burnell Street. So in no way am I buying that this is facing anything but the side yard.
Okay.
So
enough.
yeah,
So your position hasn't changed.
no.
Okay. Abby?
Yeah, I'm still, I can't get it out of my head that the front of the house is not on Oliver's Way. And but I do agree with you about there should be just one driveway going down, you know, south to north, whatever, and not have two driveways side by side. Is that what?
It's actually, but just to be clear, that's not our
Yeah.
purview because it's not on the lot. I was just articulating a potential solution. If Matt had information, he might be like, yeah, you know, that's totally doable. And it sounds like that's not in the realm of possibility given the complications.
Certainly could be. It's just, I don't know I mean, I know one of the owners, but you know, whether or not in all likelihood, that will probably be one
Yeah.
way. They probably won't have a strip of grass, but that's just kind of like, we took kind of the worst case scenario. But I would also point out that no structure or plantings really of any significance, certainly not anything large, will ever be planted in there. So it's always going to be
I'm
open.
gonna hold you there just because I think the clarification is that the discomfort is the idea that the front faces something that is not a roadway. And
Right.
if you can modify that, I think from Connie's comments, my comments, and Abby's comments, that the front will actually be facing what appears to be a way. Angus clearly is not on board
Yeah.
with that. Carrie has concerns, as she stated, which also expand to the pool being on Oliver's. But I'm just trying to and if you can't do that, I think you don't have the votes for this to be facing the orientation to be what it is.
Right. And I appreciate that. And so I think I have enough direction. I would just also say that because it's such a long, narrow lot, the front facing, if it does face an Oliver's Way, it would probably be an extremely long structure with like side yards. So anyways, I think I have enough to go on.
And I think if you can't find your way programmatically to modify the orientation, it'd be beneficial for everyone to bring in examples in the area
Sure.
of how others are laid out similarly.
Sure.
So can I just add?
Yeah,
Because
please.
I think I wanted to say this, but I think Carrie mentioned it, but why wouldn't you put the cabana on Oliver's Way to hide the pool?
Yeah, you could, and by the way, that's not presented, but we did want to show you the larger plan. One of the reasons is the solar orientation. But if that's an important piece, we knew that it'd be a bridge we'd have to cross. But that's great feedback right now. But the idea was that, the way that the sun moves through the property, the cabana would, block the sun hitting the pool. But if that's a critical piece of this, then we can adjust that. And so maybe we shared too much information, but on that, but we can certainly address that.
You're running up against friction on multiple points.
Yeah.
And you can eliminate, I think are beneficial.
Okay.
Okay, can we get a motion to hold for revisions? And Matt, keep in mind, I just not pushing it too hard, but you're getting to the point where we gotta make some change that's gonna be closer to the consensus.
Yeah. Well,
know
I
what I mean?
mean, we addressed the architecture pieces.
Yeah.
I know that the orientation piece was raised. So this is only the second time we've been before you. I mean, it's my
Yeah.
sincere hope that we can keep this orientation. I know, Angus, you're probably never going to be comfortable with it. I personally, I think that it's going to read as a corner lot, and I think it's going to be very intuitive and be successful. So there's enough feedback. So thank you.
Okay, so Angus, you want to make a motion to hold for revisions or anyone?
Make a motion to hold for revisions.
Thank you. Let's see, on your motion,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, thanks, Matt. 30 North Beach Street. Your board, you've got two, the hotel building and the hardscape. Your board is the same for both. Myself, Abby, Val, Angus, and Connie. And I'm sorry, I mentioned Joe would sit on this thinking, I was just quickly not studying the agenda. I thought Ray was going to be absent from this one too. Joe, however, and Carrie are both alternates should they be needed in the future.
Okay. With your permission, Mr. Chair, I'll get started.
Please.
So thank you. So this you've seen twice before, and I think we got stuck on this idea of the overall length and then specific request to reduce the overall frontage and convert the footprint to an L shape. And I think that was a couple of HEC board members in particular that we were trying to really address. And so that's what we've done. We had to really kind of go back to make some really fundamental changes, but I wanted to start with the site plan just to show you what we've done. You can see that it's an L-shaped structure. We've kind of pushed the program towards the back here to reduce the overall length. So with that, I'll just run through the elevations. Okay, so again, just to go backwards a little bit, we adjusted the pitches so that they're more aligned with the existing hotel structure. So we've got it down about as low as we can go. Obviously, we have to raise the building footprint out of the floodplain, so we're at a little bit of a disadvantage there. But all the other structures in the area will eventually have to be elevated to this height as well. In the previous iteration, we had a shed dormer on the right side of this gable on the right. And I think that some of the feedback we received that it looked a little too jammed in there. So we just elevated that and cleaned it up. We've omitted the balconies with the exception of these two on the two gables that present themselves to the road. It's not so much as, that we're trying. I actually personally feel like those balconies add some layering effect. They're not huge. It's not like there's going to be parties happening out there. It's just kind of a layering effect that I think is, that helps the building. It makes it a little bit more balanced. But anyways, we did reduce them. And then finally, there was a comment about trying to make the entryway, that door, a little bit more pronounced. And we did some research and looked at some antecedents. And so came up with this approach. That detailing of the gable is a detail that's found in the hotel under that carport. So with that, we hope that this has addressed the board's concerns. I just want to go to the side elevation here. This is the south elevation, which is the kind of the L, if you will. We did this intersecting gable to kind of break up the mass, if you will. We do have we have ganged windows, but that's a detail that's found in the main hotel as well. So, but I just wanted to show you how we treated that L, if you will. So it'll still be kind of additive and low, and not just one continuous elevation. So,
And you've got a front elevation perspective.
I believe we do. Well, these are the
Streetscape.
streetscape, yeah. And we also have the existing hotel building for your reference as well. So,
Okay, and then will you go back to the site plan and then we'll, does anyone have any questions for Matt before we start? Okay, who wants to start?
I will.
Yeah.
I certainly appreciate all of the changes you made, Matt, the less wide and the simplification. I think the thing over the front door could be wider, so it ties in with the old hotel. I know that hotel is funky, but it's cool funky. And we're trying to match that. The main thing, I think, the only thing that didn't get addressed, and we've mentioned it a couple times, is to push it back on the site so that it's not proud of the existing structure, just because of the complete disparity between the two structures. Yeah, that's all I have. I appreciate everything else. I just like to see it move back.
Okay, and let's see, Connie?
Same, I do appreciate all the changes, Matt. I think my only concern still is those front street facing balconies. I know they're small. But, that, that. I don't know, I think that's my only real concern, but it wouldn't, it wouldn't hold me up. Thank you.
Thanks, Connie. Let's see, Abby.
Yeah, I agree with Connie on the balconies. If they're just for decoration, I'd pull them in and make them tighter. I don't quite understand why the front door is like way down on the left when everything's happening on the right-hand side. Maybe those two masses could be flip-flopped, so the front door is closer to the driveway. And yeah, I agree with Val about if it could get moved back some more. I think that's important. And I just find the two gable, they seem a little squat to me, and I know you're up against some heights, but they seem a little like yeah, they're just a little out of proportion for me. But I do like the entrance is very, very good. Yeah, those are my three things. Thank you.
Thanks. Angus?
Thanks. So I appreciate the changes that have been made. The L that I was looking for was more the short end facing the street and the rest telescoping back, just so that it's not so imposing on Beach Street. When you go to that streetscape that shows everything, it really, just the scale of this is dwarfing the original hotel next door. There, as has been pointed out before, there are two-story parts for this hotel complex, but you wouldn't really know it unless you were looking for them because they're in the back. And that's something that we've been asking for, is that this moves back, it steps, it rearranges. But there's, a little bit of movement, but there hasn't been a real sort of taking into consideration the comments about the mass being behind the original hotel or the configuration going further back. from the very first meeting, I think someone said the balconies were a non-starter. Um, I know that they've been brought up every meeting. Yet they're still there. So
They're not all there. We removed a number of them and we shrunk them. So this indication that we haven't made changes, I think is completely,
Okay, Matt, hold on, you're gonna get a chance to speak. I don't wanna get in a habit of us interrupting, and I understand the passion that comes up when you're standing at that podium, believe me. But, just,
Uh, So I'm not saying that you've left everything that was there from the beginning, but in the beginning there were balconies and there's still balconies. So to me, it's not answering the requests of the board and it's still not appropriate. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Does that leave me, okay, so Matt, just on the second floor decks, for me, I appreciate the modifications and appreciate the modifications with respect to second floor decks overall. They need to be shingle wall parapet, for me, it's just gotta be something that's enclosed, cuts down on the visibility of the doors, the shutters, it's just, it would be in keeping, and, that actually happened at 159 Orange, and it looked dramatically more appropriate. So that's where I am on that. I don't know if there's, a way to work that into the vocabulary somewhere on the first floor, on the ends, the left and the right, to cut down on the accentuation of the horizontal axes of the overall building by decreasing the baluster length left to right. But if you do a study on that, where the left and the right last between the columns, our parapet, shingle wall, I would appreciate it. I think it would be beneficial. Can't visualize these things, but I'd like to see an image of it. The concern I have with the shutters, I haven't come up about this yet because I just haven't gotten to that point. On Sparks. Yeah, Sparks. There's a recent installation that's under investigation where
Yeah.
the shutters look like deck boards that have been put up there, and it looks like deck boards. So I see these, and my concern is that, not that that's what you will do, but that I want to make sure, I said, please make sure that doesn't happen. I have an issue with the shutters, the configuration. I think it fits the style that you're looking to, the perceptions you're trying to create. But if it's not done properly and there's a little 1/8 of an inch space between them, or 3/16, it's gonna look like somebody put deck boards up on the wall. Can we now go to the site plan, please?
sure.
Okay. So I'm not suggesting this out of my own preference of what's appropriate, but because I think it modifies things in a way that we just talked about we don't want to have, which is a pool visible on from the sides. But can you mirror image this and then move the pool and the hardscape into the alcove that's created?
Um,
I mean, it's not gonna move it a lot, but it's gonna move it some. You're gonna require reconfiguration.
it
But could that
theoretically,
allow you to move it a couple of feet back.
it theoretically could. Yeah, it could. I can't think of any. I would just reserve the right that there might be something that I'm not thinking of right now. There is a point of access. The handicapped accessibility access point is closer to the main hotel entrance, and so that would be something to consider. But theoretically, it's possible.
Okay, so having said that, my biggest concern with that is that then the larger mass is more visible because it's along the entryway parking lot. So to me, it's not an attractive solution, but that may not be an issue for other people, especially if there's some specimen trees along that side, some, columnar trees and things like that.
If it allows you to slide the building back.
Yeah.
That would be the
exactly.
rationale.
It allows you to slide the building. So I'm just trying to give you some ideas on perhaps ways, because I think we're at the point, right, where what we're looking at is you have, I just state the fact, you have a minority of people who are concerned about the second floor decks. You have a consensus, I think, of moving it back somewhat. And if moving it back creates problems with the landscaping, perhaps you can take a look at the mirror image.
Flipping it.
At least profile, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Study wise.
Okay, well, I didn't, if I could just respond really quickly. So sorry if I got a little hot there, but we literally redesigned
That was-
this. So that was not,
Wanted to be in.
sorry, I interrupted and I should have waited my turn. But to Angus's point, you know, we literally redesigned this based on a comment, the concern about the length. And we have made, you know, we had more decks on this and we had steeper roof pitches and we had architectural features that we've removed. So I guess we've made so many changes along the way in a way that responds to your concerns and comments. So I just want, it hurts a little bit when you say like, it kind of made it sound like we weren't listening and we weren't making changes. We have made changes and taken great time to do it. So I just want you to know that it's not, the idea that we're ignoring your comments is not accurate.
I think it was more focused. The comment was intended to be more focused than generally ignoring, but I don't want to speak for the members. I think we're past that point.
Yeah. Okay.
You've
I got
an
enough.
idea. We appreciate your position. You've got an idea that of what what needs to be done in order to make it approvable. And I think that's kind of what we're looking for the next one, or at least material steps in that direction. So then we can comment on that and maybe go on other rounds, but it'd be preferable to kind of wrap it up.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Do we have a motion? And Matt, are you good, I think, given the discussion we've had at the table, to track the hardscape?
Yes.
Okay. So get a motion to, for revisions and, track hardscape tracking.
So moved.
Let's see, it's just us kids at the table, right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, carries unanimously. Okay, Matt, thank you. And we'll see you in just a half a second on 7 Orange Street. When you're ready.
Okay. Your permission, I'll begin. So this is 7 Orange Street. You've seen this a few times now. So in summary, what we've done is some of the feedback we received was the architectural language and the detailing, and that it was that the exterior architectural detailing was maybe perhaps too ornate. I forget the term that was used the previous meeting, but so what we've tried to do is really simplify. So we've removed the chimney owls. We've actually removed the roof walk, which I thought was something that was contributing to the complexity or the high style, if you will. That was something that took a lot of work in convincing, and but it is removed, and I think it does actually simplify the building pretty dramatically. We've also omitted the Belvedere, which was on that one-story element in the back, one-story structure. Again, begrudgingly, I don't know how visible that was going to be, but we still removed it, and we also lowered the height of that structure, as indicated in the clouding. What we try to do is cloud. What we try to do with this one is cloud. Basically, the thicker clouding is the more recent changes. The lighter clouding is changes that we've made previously. The bay is something that's come up a few times, and I did present, and we didn't submit these bay options, but I wanted to show them just as a way of getting some feedback if I could. And this was a version. So some of the feedback we received on the bay is that the windows weren't aligning with the first and second floor windows. Specifically, if you look at the south elevation, the upper windows line up, but the windows below them don't actually line up. And the idea is that at the top of the landing of the stairs, it's a switchback, that there's a built-in seat, which is something that you would see in buildings or in bays, if you will. But I know that there's been some reservations about that because it doesn't quite align with the first floor fenestration. And so we did have this version of the bay that I wanted to at least just show you for feedback. I might be getting ahead of myself, but it was something that is a bit more aligned in terms of the fenestration. So with that, I will turn it back over to you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Oh, you have a question?
I'm not on it anymore. I wish I was. I love this building.
Oh, okay. So your board is myself, Abby, Angus, Joe, and Connie. And there are no alternates. And Carrie, did you recuse on this?
Yeah.
You did, okay.
Yes, I did.
I just want to make sure, because sometimes people are down as recused and they're not, and that's.
Nope, I
not a
am.
good- Not a good
Okay.
thing for us to do.
Okay.
Okay. All right, no questions? Who would like to begin?
Oh, we could go ahead and get me out of the way.
Actually, do you mind if I give Joe a shot?
Sure.
He doesn't get a chance off. And Joe?
Oh, so the beat tonight is on the most, I wouldn't say controversial, but it's definitely been here a while. I've appreciated the presentation all along, and I I think that the house is appropriate for the location, and I think I felt that way the last time I reviewed this, and I think the simplifications that you've made with your client on the roof walk and the chimneys have helped, even though I thought that they worked this close to Main Street. And the simplification of the elements on the rear make that start to feel like it's not quite a traditional L, but it's not as it's not a folly attached to the building anymore. So I'm good with this application as is, considering all the changes that have been made, and I think it's appropriate.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, now Angus.
Okay, so I appreciate the simplification. I think that it's come a long way. There were reservations from the very beginning about this being a gambrel, yet it's still a gambrel. The bay window, I appreciate the alterations to it, but it's still, there's a floating between stories window, and it doesn't go all the way to the ground like pretty much every example. I think it's a beautiful detail. That's not our purview. If it's like at the back of the house where no one's going to see it, but it just it's, to me, it's not an appropriate detail. There isn't context for that or precedent for that particular type of bay that's floating between stories and doesn't have a base of that size. And it's such a prominent spot. This is, it's right in front of the Unitarian Church and on the major thoroughfare, Orange Street. So I think we just need to be especially careful with what we're letting go here. Along the south side, which will be visible, there isn't a typical graduation of large, medium, small. It's a large and then drops to a small and then pops up to a medium. And that I think has been brought up since the beginning. The roof walk never really bothered me, but it's, again, it's simplifying, so I appreciate that. And the chimney pots going away is good, simplified. But there are elements that have been an issue from the beginning that are still an issue for me. Thank you.
Okay, and Holly, I see a hand up. We're gonna take comments from the public. It's a public meeting, not a public hearing. We'll take comments from the public once we get additional comments from the board. So at that point, if you let me know if anyone's still got their hand up or you clarify. Thank you, Angus. Let's see. We got, go Abby.
So, yeah, I'm still for a more simple gable instead of the gambrel. It's too bad that the client's enthusiasm is right in between two historic structures, because this guy's got a lot he wants to say, and it's just competing with the two historic buildings on the other side. That's why I think it should be simpler. I wouldn't mind if that middle window was, you know how on the house, you know, the historic foundation has that middle window has like little flanking side windows. I wouldn't mind if that middle window on the second floor was a larger window. But I still prefer like a five bay. I think the 3 bay is just making it seem too modern. Not sure why the window boxes are there, because I'm sure those aren't gonna be there, but, and then in the massing going towards the back, I don't understand why there's so much up and down, like additive massing. You have the big mass, like Angus was referring to, and then the second one is smaller, and then the second one. So the, you know, the Russian doll thing. So the up and down, if people could see it, I think it's going to look odd. I don't mind having a bay window on the side, but I think it should go down to the ground and be, you know, not up in the air like that. So I still have the same concerns I did, initially. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
Again, Matt, I appreciate the changes. I also did not find the roof walk, out of character. There's a lot of roof walks on Orange Street. And I do like me a good Belvedere, but thank you for simplifying, and I think it's appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Matt, can you go back to the perspective?
The option of the bay.
Yeah.
So this is a version where the bay, we don't want it to actually hit the ground because it counts as ground cover, but we can get it pretty darn close, and that's what this version shows.
Is there a stair there, or?
There is a stair. Yes, there's a landing that terminates pretty much where
Yeah,
those.
okay. Let's see the floor plan. Okay, so my concern, first of all, I appreciate the changes. I think they help in a variety of ways, not least of which is appropriateness. The concept of competing with the old history, as history goes on, maybe come in and put in a roof block. Obviously, that requires a review and approval, but I'm just saying that, as history goes on. For me, I think that, what are the plant materials that we're seeing in the front of the house?
So that is the 3D site scan. So that is part of what we call the point cloud.
So you guys were ghosting there from
Those are, yeah.
artifacts.
All their surrounding buildings are actually, they're legit. That's why the telephone poles and the wires, it's like ridiculous. It's like hyper accurate.
Cut those out, would be beneficial next time, but this is helpful for me. What I'm having difficulty though is like relative to the sidewalk. I feel like, can we go back to the front elevation?
Just takes a second.
I guess, okay, no, that's right. I thought the perspective was up. So for me, this is a couple things going on. I'm fine with the structure. I'm fine with the bay. I mean, it's a derivative Victorian. I would like to see that side elevation first before I finish that comment.
Oh, like right now.
Yeah.
And this is it not going towards the ground, but
So this pent roof seems to compete with the concept. I think that what's visible from this side needs to have the kind of appurtenances need to have a similar look. So it's like, oh yeah, they put this on during a period.
Gotcha.
The house changed in this period and everything else changed, but having just a single element there, that, it's probably primarily going to be in the detailing, the fascia sizes are different, so on and so forth, but just so the vocabulary is common vocabulary. For me, that seems like an important element to change, is so that it's not a sole identity on the structure. The other thing is, and look, my biggest concern with the structure at the beginning was the sense of mass. And if you look at the original gambrel versus the Victorian, which is actually what I would prefer, but I think they can both be appropriate. The original is not as deep So it's, we would today call it a rocket ship and we would not approve it. But as a result of that, the rest of the structure feel that the original gambrel has a smaller imprint. Where this does not have that. This has a large imprint in terms of perception. So what that tells me is, what that translates to me is height. And I think the flower boxes are on the second floor are a nod to the overall height. The window sizes are a nod to the overall height, changing the perception of the height. I'm not saying in a way that, you know, it's
I
not
get it.
appropriate. It's just, to me, I think would be more beneficial if we lost, you know, 9 inches or a foot in the height. We downsize all the windows by one size. We drop the flower boxes on the second floor. It looks more appropriate to me that way. In terms
Gotcha.
Of the overall mass, because I'm not gonna ask you to decrease the depth, but I would ask you to decrease the height. Because the depth is not something that's gonna be as prominent as you're going up and down Orange Street.
Right.
Given it is a one-way, and you're not gonna be looking over your shoulder. And that's not to say people aren't gonna see the side of the house.
Right.
But this view will be what you see. Every single person who goes by that house will see this. So for me, I think 9 inches or a foot out of the height, downsize the windows by a size. That would allow you to do that on both the left and the right sides. Because your structure height has changed. The windows will all be proportionate. Modify that tent roof as is suggested for me. And I think that's it.
Okay. I did, if I could just add one quick thing. Again, in terms of the 3/5 and the roof form, this is all, we strongly believe, and there's evidence to support that this was here prior to the Great Fire. And so that's one of the reasons why the configuration is what it is and the roof line is the way it is. And also just this perspective, this is a street perspective view minus the point cloud. You really do get the impression that gambrel is kind of a flatter roof, which is evident in that hand sketch. But I think there's somebody with their hand raised.
And let's see, John Chadwell, and will you be ready in case we have a Zoom bomber? John, if you could identify your self by name and your street address before we begin. I want to try and remember to ask that on everyone.
Maybe not.
Said John Pork before.
Yeah, I saw that.
Huh?
It said John Pork before.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, I think since John hasn't responded with his street address, that we should.
Sometimes people
we're gonna
raise their
respond.
hand by accident too.
Okay.
I have enough to go on, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so I think we're looking for a motion.
So moved.
And
Revision.
on your motion,
Aye.
Angus,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
and I'm an aye.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Matt. Let's see, we've got 37 Squam. Ethan,
Disconnect between.
Good evening.
he modifies that to have the same kind of, okay. Good evening, Ethan. How are we doing tonight?
Good. How are you guys?
We're pretty well so far. You've got 37 Squan, new gym structure. Your board is myself, Abby, Val, Angus, Carrie, your alternates, Connie, and Joe. And please begin.
Okay. This is the third time I think we've been back. The first time was held for a view, but we actually submitted some revisions and the board had comments about those. And so this is largely in response to a lot of those comments. Overwhelmingly, the board preferred the previous submission, which was the gable form. But we did want to continue to develop the gambrel and present that side by side, just because we do feel it offers an opportunity to both lower the ridge and the eave line. Yes, we kind of bring it up. We did also try to optimize this package a little bit so that all the drawings are kind of one format, sort of front load the beginning. I don't know if it seems to be not working, but.
we're waiting for the,
Internets.
internet to catch up.
Yeah.
To 2026.
Yeah, I was getting errors.
Oh,
Oh, God, no.
oh, here you come. Here you come. Oh, to South Shore Pool. Boy, you'd think the largest revenue generating commission on the island would have better service from the town. Not Fiona, I'm talking about the internet.
No, I'm with you.
Just want to be clear.
Yeah.
Our staff does a great job under a lot of stress. 37 Squam.
Oh yeah, I see it. OB 37 Squam. All right. Thanks.
There we go. Oh,
Okay. There we go. So actually, if you don't mind scrolling to the first page, just to kind of.
No.
So just to give you guys a little bit of context, I mean, it's a pretty large parcel. There's extensive wetlands though, and then this is adjacent to an existing tennis court, essentially replacing existing gym structure, which we are sort of sliding inward to align with an existing garage. It's John Chatterley. He's very persistent. So again, just to give a little context, it is close to the road. There is a pretty substantial evergreen vegetation buffer, certainly willing to add to that more. I don't think the owner wants a lot of view off Squam Road either. But if we can go to the next page, this is where we can start looking at the comparison of the gambrel versus the gable. So overwhelmingly, the feedback was simplify the structure. It really needs to look more like a barn, not sort of a contemporary sort of version of a barn. And then also reduce the amount of glazing we're proposing on the roadside, which this is. So what you're seeing here is two different proposals. One is a gable version with shed dormers, and the other is a gambrel version with shed dormers. Again, just to reiterate, from a playing volume, the space on the inside for this, it's a Bedell court on the inside. The gambrel does offer sort of advantages. For your perspective, it allows a lower eave line and a lower ridge height. And we're already sinking this down 4 feet below grade, which is about the limit we can get to due to the water table. So again, we wanted to present these two, full fleshed out examples of a gambrel and a gable version, and welcome the board's feedback.
anything else?
Should be
That's it.
pretty self-explanatory if you can scroll through
Yep.
further.
I think we should move to my garage. I'll have pizza. Internet's better. We have better control over the heating system.
So this is the yard side. Squam would be on the left. And then sort of, to the right is moving inwards to the lot. And this is the sunken side. So this is the court side. So it's about 4 feet below grade. Again, Squam Road would be on your right on this side.
Okay.
And this is from inside the lot. So not really super relevant to the purview, but just for context.
Okay. Before we go full hog, if in anything here, does anyone have concerns with the, yes, would be good if you have concerns. Does anyone sitting have concern with the gambrel?
Yes.
Overall, as a concept?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we're definitely gonna discuss that as a topic. And does anyone have concerns with the gable version, other than specifics? You know what I'm saying? Like fenestration or doors?
Sounds like we.
Nope.
we're
Okay,
able
so it
to-
sounds like, so
I'm a gambrel.
you're a gambrel concerns or a gambrel?
No,
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's really charming. Okay, so why don't we start with discussing the gambrel, and to the extent we can. The fenestration's the same, correct? It's just top plate height.
Oh yeah, between the two versions, yeah, the fenestration, we want to present it exactly the same.
So why don't we get a little bit of feedback on the gambrel, see where that goes, and then we can wrap it up.
Can you go to the
Actually, I
site?
take it back. The yard side, we do have a different fenestration on the windows.
We'll have to decide which one we have consensus on. 'Cause I'm trying to narrow this down and I needed to get an idea of where the concerns were from a global perspective from membership. Carrie, you want to begin?
I would just like to go to the site for a second, and I am in favor of the gable because I think the width of the building and the gambrel, it's just very squat. And the proportions are odd feeling to me. Can you go to the site plan?
Yeah, just gonna take a minute because the
Oh, okay, thank you.
super excellent Wi-Fi we get.
Because for me, the architecture of the gambrel is all fine. It's really just, it is a huge building and it's quite close to the street. And with the other parts of the building, it seems to me that the connector between the existing garage and this barn could be eliminated and that program could be put towards the street side and the barn could butt up to the garage and therefore reduce the impact on Squam Road. It's extremely rural. And as everyone knows, it's a dirt road. And yes, there are big buildings, but most of them are not visible from the street. I just think this is so unusual. And the site is humongous. And the fact that this huge building is sitting right on the edge of the road just is incongruous considering, and I do understand that there's wetlands. But when you look at that property, it just seems like it could be more sensitive.
Okay.
Thanks.
And do you have any concerns on the, understanding that, do you have any concerns on the architectural elements otherwise?
No, I think the gable one is simpler, and I think the proportion is better than the gambrel. That's
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Val.
I like the gambrel. I think, gambrels are appropriate out in the boondocks. It may just be the proportions of the pitches. The pictures you gave us, Ethan, show a lot of gambrels, but they're
Like the last
their
page is.
pictures
Number
pitches
9.
are different. They're steeper. This building is wide and squatty, and that is, I think, what's working against somebody embracing it. And then I don't disagree with Carrie about eliminating the glass connector thing and just moving it back somewhat from the road toward the garage.
Through the chair, would it be okay if I just addressed the citing quickly?
Yeah.
And I certainly appreciate that. Our intent is not to put this any closer to the road than it needs to be. The reality, though, is that we're already, kind of pushing the limits of what Concom's going to permit with the 100-foot. So if we were here 3 years ago, it wouldn't be an issue. But it's kind of, we shoehorned it in, honestly, as much as we could. But, obviously not your problem, but just for context.
Thanks. Angus?
Thank you so much for including the historic barns of Nantucket. They are wonderful examples of gambrel barns in pastoral settings, surrounded by fields, and there's context and all of it makes sense. But I think, as Val has pointed out, the pitches, and I'm sure this has everything to do with just trying to bring down the overall height, but the proportions of all the examples that were, those in those historic photos all have steeper upper portions. And I think it's the proportions that deter me more than anything with the gambrel version. As far as the gable goes, it just seems simpler. And then, of course, the at least part of the volume of what faces the road that's close to the road is set back, so the dormers are set back rather than the gambrel being forward. And in general, I, I think it's getting there as far as the simplicity. It's just the fenestration, again, when you look at the historic examples, there just isn't the kind of fenestration that is being proposed. So that's what I have. Thanks.
Thank you. And let's see, Abby.
I prefer the gable, on, what is it called? What's the road it's on?
Squam.
Squam Road. With the barn details, like the thing coming out of the top of, way in the eave, and the little wooded window below, really saying I'm a barn. I wish that the dormers were further away from the road so that they wouldn't read as dormers, and it would just be a simple structure. And I wouldn't want to see the glass connector either. So I think added vegetation, so that you just see the top pitch of the roof as you're driving by, I think would be fine.
Thank you. So, Ethan. Sounds like you don't have support for the gambrel enough. I would like to see. So Holly, can I ask, I thought we had the system where people had to be let in before they could be.
Those are all
Attendees are like for applications.
I think Lucas is, yeah.
Yeah, he works for Chip.
Okay, so can you cross him off so we don't see hands up there on the screen while because it's not, we're not covering Chip's application.
Right.
Thank you. I didn't know who it was, so I just didn't want to. And that brought up the question of how are we vetting people? Okay, so I'm gonna back up. For me, I would rather see a version, and I don't know if you're gonna entertain this or not, because it sounds like you can get the gable approved. But for me, if you're gonna go with the gambrel, if there's a preference, I would suggest that I think it would be worthwhile to look at it at 29 feet with the roof chords changed. So as to the extent possible, minimize that profile. So it's not as squat, it's not as stocky. And you use those extra 2 feet to accomplish a greater pitch a lesser pitch on the lower chords and a greater pitch on the higher chords, and you find that sweet spot that makes it look more traditional and also not as squat. I don't know if it's gonna look like, if that's gonna accomplish it. I don't know if you wanna go through that, because again, it looks like you've got a gable approval ready to go. Yeah.
I have a question for Ethan. Do you need the dormers?
The dormers
There's
are
no-
helpful. The center dormers are from a practical standpoint are the most helpful, just from a playable volume standpoint.
Playing the game.
Oh,
Can we go to the elevation that shows the dormers? So for me, with the gambrel, the dormers are a must-have. I think that it actually adds to the charm of the facility, and I wouldn't want to have those eliminated, given the fact that I know this is closer to the road than we would prefer, which is another topic I want to address in a second. But just a second,
it wasn't done.
Well, but
Good,
I need
okay.
to finish my comments.
Okay.
So can I finish my comments? So for me, the dormers, the extended, rakes, they make that charm of the gambrel, and I would want to see those continue. Now that might change when you change the, proportions of the chords, but I think it actually will be beneficial. I lost track of what I was going to say on the other topic, so I will give the floor to Val.
The reason I was asking is there's no second floor. It's primarily, I'm assuming, for light in the building. Could you do some really minimal, like transom style, more utilitarian style dormers instead of a dormer that looks like it's on a house?
Yeah, would be better. At least on the pins.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, and then I want to wrap it up because we're like blossoming out into things that we haven't discussed before. We really were looking at the gambrel structure. I'm not trying to close out discussion, but I don't know that it's fair to the applicant and the applicant's agent to be now kind of projecting backwards and modifying comments. This isn't the first time we've looked at this. This is the third time.
It's second time with significant comments. The first time some comments, but third time we've been here. Yeah, first time held for review. We put ridge poles up.
So Angus,
So just hearing what I'm hearing in the meeting is the concern about the size and proximity to the road. And the dormers are contributing to that. And so but it sounds like the middle dormer is the one that is more for space of the play inside the building than it is about the light. I had the same thought as Val about, we'll just, either do skylight or minimize the dormer, just, you can get light, natural light without that sort of volume. So I think what would work well is to have the middle dormers as is and they're functioning, but maybe eliminate the ones closest to the road, which would really sort of minimize the impact up close to the road. Thanks.
thank you. I just really don't know to go with it, where to go with this one.
Just
Can I ask a
Why don't
question?
we then, excuse me, Ethan, why don't you comment? And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I hate to sort of like whittle away at like a tiny piece at one piece at a time, but if the board felt that there was a way to prove through staff with adjusting the gambrel and then eliminating the flanking single window dormers, I mean, I think we could come up with something that would meet staff's.
I don't know that you're gonna have support on that, given the gambrel modifications that I suggested were to see if they change the perspective of the profile, and if that had a beneficial change to members' perspectives. I don't think you're gonna get a gambrel approval this evening.
Mm-mm.
without
I'm not
coming
through
back
staff
with
either.
So do you wanna hold for?
I would not mind holding for revisions with the opportunity to come back with a revised gambrel and the gable. But again, my fear is that we find something else that we're
Well, I'm right
not
where
into.
you said I wasn't quite sure where to go with this. The other, I don't know if this is something you're interested in, but the other opportunity would be to get an Exhibit A approval without the flanking dormers and visit those once you've got some rafters up. And
Yeah, I mean, all else being equal, I think at this point, we've been working on this a while, even though we've only seen you 3 times. Well, I think we'd rather move to see if we can get an approval tonight.
tonight.
I could
I
make,
think,
I could make a motion to approve with a Exhibit A. And that would be of the gable without the flanking dormers. And just a caveat that you wouldn't see that glazing in the connector. So whether it's mitigation with planting or whatever, but just to screen that, so that wouldn't be visible time of inspection and thereafter.
Could I second that for 1 second? Because there's
You
no
can second that for a second.
second, what is the siding here? Is it?
It's vertical board pine.
vertical board? Okay, because, I just noticed that and I wouldn't be in favor of that, so I.
Okay, I'm gonna go on the comment, just not to be contrary, but we've just discussed that really what you're gonna see of the structure is the second story, and that's pretty much it. So I'm not as concerned, and it is a barn-like structure, and so for me, it's not inappropriate. If it were more visible, given the left to right width and other characteristics, I might have concern, but given the visibility, I personally am not concerned about that. So we do have a motion on the floor.
I need to second it too, Stephen, sorry.
Well, you can actually just comment because it's open for discussion.
Oh, thank you. I just want to make absolute sure that the vegetation on the street side, because it is so close to the street and it is so humongous, is re-vegetated if any is disturbed during construction. Because as such a huge building, I have a feeling it's going to open up to the street and it really needs to be replanted.
Needs to be.
Gotcha.
Oh, I think it's.
So would you accept that as a modification to your,
I-
Added vegetation?
I would.
the vegetation would be replaced? So
Mhm.
vegetation as currently exists will be replicated if disturbed, or something like that.
Well, to
And
have at least the vegetation that exists, if not more.
On the, I am so Laura were seconded, and this is potentially in your favor. I mean, I would like to give you the option to move this up to 10 feet away, not as a requirement of the exhibit A, because it hasn't been made, it was not in discussion, although it was a discussion with. I would like to give the applicant's agent, the applicant agent, an opportunity to move this 10 feet closer, or 10 feet further from the road. And then when you're looking at this and you look at the layout, and if you think that's gonna make a difference with the dormers and so you're given an opportunity before you construct it to move it without penalty, without having to come back. Because if you're looking at it and you think, the dormers are worth more to us than the extra 5 feet. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it, but I think it would be beneficial for you to have that this structure can be moved as many as 10 feet further away from the road at the option of the applicant. Not a requirement, but it gives you the option.
The reality is it probably won't, just because it's another board Concom that we have to deal with. So that it's probably a non-starter as far as they're concerned.
Locked in. I thought there was a
Yeah,
lock. So strike that. We've got the original motion and the vegetation to be left intact or replicated.
And that's not just along the road, but the original part that I mentioned to screen the
From screen.
glass connect. Yeah.
Natural to weather.
And that's your exhibit A.
That's my exhibit A.
Okay, on your exhibit A.
Aye.
Abby,
I'm an I.
Val,
I'm a no.
no, okay, thanks. Let's see, that was Carrie,
I'm going to abstain.
who's gonna abstain? I'm an I, so for the record, 3 in favor, Connie's an alternate. 3 in favor, 1 opposed, Val, and 1 abstention, Carrie. Okay, we're now on to 10 Maxi.
Cool. Are we going to get an exhibit, or should we just do it from the minutes?
He's gonna do an exhibit A. And
Beautiful.
we'll have, so that'll be in the office.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
10 Maxi Pond, Lucas is here for that. He's not a Zoom bomber.
Yeah.
Lucas, you're gonna share?
Yes, please.
Okay, great.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
I can hear Joe and Carrie very well. It's a little hard to hear the board members in the office. I don't know if it's possible to change it, but I can't quite hear with my audio all the way out.
Okay, I just turned on my mic. Is that better?
That's better. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was off. And Val, are you on this one? Yes. If is your mic
On,
Okay,
yeah.
great. Okay, so it is myself, Abby, Ray is absent, Val, Angus, and Connie. Where are we in the rotation? Connie or Joe? Joe was on, oh, you both were on that. Connie was on that. I think it's Joe. Okay.
Okay.
I'll do better keeping track if I can.
Alrighty.
Okay, when you're ready, Lucas.
Fantastic. So this is the second time coming in. First time the board had some requests that we tried to accommodate. So starting off, just want to do a quick on the site. There's an existing shed where we're placing this, and we have some photos during full winter showing that that shed is invisible. So we're definitely maintaining that the first floor will be not visible even in wintertime. You'll definitely see the roof coming over, but there's good vegetation between where anyone will be publicly and the structure. Having said that, one of the concerns was the proximity. One of the members mentioned moving this structure away. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to be sharing screen here. Hold on one sec.
Yes. Well, actually,
All right, can you guys see my screen now?
okay, yeah, I presume that was you. Okay, go ahead.
All righty, sorry about that. So the photos I was referring to were on the first page here. Now we're on the second page. All right, so site location. So we moved it in two directions. Moved it 5 feet from the property and 5 feet away from the main house. So that moves it obviously from where anyone from the public way will be standing. Also brings it down in the topography, which allowed us to lower that first floor an additional 6 inches. The board also asked about site sections, so we're supplying 2. These sections are transverse and longitudinal, one going along the property line and one cutting across. There was some conversation about the relationship between the structures, so we dimensioned both the ridge and the eave. We feel like this is a subordinate structure, which we want both from the architectural perspective and then obviously from HGC's perspective. 4.5 feet from eaves and just over 7 feet from ridges. First, a quick disclaimer. I hate making mistakes, but I noticed a mistake on this sheet. The site plan and the sections show the right heights. I labeled these incorrectly. The numbers that are showing are correct in this drawing here. In addition to that 6 foot of dropping by the topography allowance, we also reduced it an additional 1 foot 7 inches. So
Lucas,
from the last application, this new structure is
Lucas?
down.
Lucas,
Yep.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'd like you just to restate what you said about the, not to have you restate that you made an error, but restate the,
That I hate it. Yeah.
well,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, we all, yeah, I get
I
that and
know.
appreciate it. But
So-
which information is correct?
Everything that you're seeing on the screen is correct now. The site plan is correct, 45.5. The sections are correct, but I realized I had labeled the existing grade as the first floor. So I corrected that, and now we're showing the correct existing grade should be 45. I believe it's showing 45.5, which would be the first floor. So I circled it here to make it very obvious where the mistake was. But the numbers now that you're looking at on the screen are the correct numbers and also show up correctly, site plan and section.
Fair enough. I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I regret that is annoying that that occurred. Apologies. All right, so I think that was pretty much it. Cumulative lowered 1 foot 11. I think some members felt it was on consent with a lowering of 1.6. So we're an additional 5 inches. Plus we're moving it 5 feet away in 2 directions. And hopefully with those and the site sections, we're at something that the board thinks is appropriate.
Okay. Concerns.
I have some
Abby?
concerns. So I went up there yesterday and I hadn't done that before. I was kind of winging it and I'm kind of appalled at what's going on this site and its relationship to the founding fathers' graves. This is so close to those gravestones. I've got to say, it's disrespectful to have something this large. I mean, already this house is
taking up the whole top of the hill. It's got extensive fencing along an old dirt road that you used to get to the founding fathers' graves. I think this guest cottage is absolutely in the wrong spot, and there's a responsibility of this client, whatever, to go back and definitely vegetate this property on that cemetery side. It's so egregious. I came away, I just was so upset. So I don't even think it's not even about the height. It's about where it is on the site, the scale. It's just a slap in the face to the founding fathers. And I just think it's really important to know that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would definitely try to make sure any deer fence or vegetation, I know the board has concerns there, separate application, we are coming back for that. This is not that.
Thanks, Lucas. I'm gonna ask you just to hold on comments till
You got it.
till we wrap ours. Let's see, Val.
I went up there twice just to make sure I was at the right spot. I think it needs to be pushed forward toward the driveway and down farther, or to the east and down farther, so we don't see anything really, but maybe the tip of the roof, and eliminate the dormer on the side that faces the graveyard.
Gotcha. Angus?
Thank you. I think we had, or at least I had asked about removing that dormer the last time facing the graveyard. In the section, after having been to the site, I think it's on page 5, that section 1, the berm that's there, it's at eye height, and it does help screen things actually more than what is shown in this section. But what really draws attention to this in the section 3 is just how much glazing and volume of second floor space there is. It's more imposing than the main house because the main house has lower volumes on the side of the proprietor's graveyard. So that still for me, that needs to go. I think that does more than moving it 5 feet. If it were to move, the other side of the driveway circle or further inland at the bend in the driveway would be more appropriate. I think the further away from the cemetery and the closer it is in the rest of the cluster of buildings along Maxi Pond would make this more appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Angus. And Ray, no, Joe?
Sure, thank you. Well, the thing that I've been on the site, I have not viewed it from the graveyard side. But the one thing that did jump out when I looked at this was how it looks alongside the main house. I really appreciate the main house and I guess this garage structure from the circle, yeah, this elevation, because it just has that simple central gable and the porch line, just like on the main house, breaks up the height. But that device is not employed on the backside, understandably, but maybe something has to happen, or this gable element that you've got here ends up being mirrored on the backside. I had not, I was actually okay with this, given my knowledge of the lot. Now I'm inclined to view it from the graveyard side and think about the dormer. Those are my comments. I mean, I do think that it works with the main house. The one thing that struck me though regarding the site plan is just the way that it starts to overlap the main house a little bit, and it made me just question why it wasn't on the other side of that circle. But I didn't put too much thought into that because the structure felt diminutive from this driveway area, and I thought there was minimal visibility. But it seems like a natural fit on the other side of this driveway, and an air towards the solar field. It also would help to screen the solar field. I don't know how much I don't know what's happening in that zone. And then it seems like a natural fit there on a lot of different levels, and it sounds like the concerns might disappear entirely. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. I keep it simple. I agree with Joe. And if not that location, then I think it needs to be a good 20 feet further off the property line. And to prevent adding insult to injury of the location of the main structure with respect to the 253-year-old cemetery, this would also require eastern red cedar planted in a naturalized fashion along the property line. And that, again, I just want to be clear, that would be in addition to the move 20 feet. So Lucas, it sounds like you have strong opposition to the current location now that we viewed from Founders. Angus, I want to thank you for having brought that up. That was an important distinction. So kudos to you on that. And you got, it sounds like two options, but the stronger, I think the most easily approvable is relocation. You want any quick comments, and then we're gonna hopefully if you're looking for any clarifications, and then we're gonna move to a vote.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. I mean, in full discretion, ultimately the client wants to do a tertiary dwelling, so he's holding that interior location for. This one would be the existing guest house as we're drawing it is the smaller one, so we thought it'd be more appropriate, closer. But I hear all the concerns, so no further comments.
Okay, thank you. That said, how about a motion, folks?
Motion to hold for revisions.
On your motion,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Okay, we have
Thanks, guys.
let's see. Thanks, Lucas.
Yep.
We have 5 Gingy, and the board is myself, Abby, Val, Angus, Connie, and Joe. And Connie is up. And Joe, I'm gonna ask two things actually. Abby, will you chair this? I have to take a bio break. And Joe, are you able to sit?
Yeah, I can sit.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool with that, Abby?
Abby withdrew on this last week and Joe sat on it.
Oh, that's right. I did. Yeah, I did sit on this.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anyone who's on this who I've named? I'm gonna name it again. If you're not familiar or you feel like maybe you weren't on it originally, I just want to get that squared away now. Abby, Val, Angus. You recall sitting on this?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Joe
And
sat, maybe Ray didn't.
Oh, Ray was on it.
Ray was on it.
Yep.
Was Connie?
I recall being on it.
But you were away when it came in last time, right?
It came in, when did it
Me?
come in?
It was heard on the 24th or something, I think.
Was I here?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, because I don't know, I won't know if I missed it because I wasn't there.
You were here.
Okay, so if Ray was on it, if I was on it, if Abby was on it, if Val was on it, and Angus was on it, then Joe wouldn't have-
Abby recused herself.
Ah,
Yes.
okay, so Abby's not chairing this. And the board will be me as chair, Val, Angus, Connie, and Joe. Okay, bio break be damned. Why don't you proceed?
Okay, so, there was a request for minor revisions on this, so if we could scroll to, the front elevation, which would be the Genji Lane, of course, elevation. They're probably at the very end there. That's yes, this is the front elevation. So, Ray wanted to bring the porch all the way across. Okay, and there was some comments about breaking the long horizontal facial line in the front. And then if we look at the streetscape in a minute, you can see that I combined the shed dormer motif with some of the buildings adjacent to it down the street. I broke that long horizontal line that obviously you can see in the 1/8" scale drawing. I think those were, I think those were the modifications that were requested, actually.
Okay. You know, guys, I just noticed that we've done one approval on consents, which is to say differently that applications that were not originally consentable and have modifications, we're not getting the results we need. So, I would just ask that we redouble our efforts to be very clear and authoritative in what it is we want. Thank you. Having said that, Val, on this. Any concerns?
I thought it tied in with the other buildings up there from the first go round, and my only concern was the visibility from North Liberty, but I think it's hugely mitigated by things that are there, so I'm okay with this.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Angus, any concerns?
Yeah, I mean, I think the porch helps. It helps to bring down that face a little bit. To me, there's so much that's the same height, like all the second floor windows into the connector, and I mean that the addition as you see it from the north elevation. I would want to see more hierarchy. And yeah, my concern, because there's more building like this on this street, it's the massing is the more of the issue, but the biggest thing is really sort of seeing it from North Liberty Street. And so I don't know, there isn't a lot of room with this footprint to add any screening there. Thanks.
Thanks. Joe?
Thanks. Yeah, when I saw it was on as an alternate, but I remember this because of the site plan, because this street view, I think, isn't going to read as strongly given the way this building jogs. And I appreciate the change in the eave and adding this dormer. I guess my only comment, and I guess part of this is a question, the dormer feels close to the cheek wall of the space next to it. And the gables are drawn like they actually have a huge rake overhang versus a tighter relationship between the rake boards and the sidewall. So I guess one question is that intentional? Is there really, are you intending to have the gables extend out like they do? And if that's the answer is yes, I think that dormer just needs to come in, like get tight to the windows. The windows could stay there, but just scooch that in a little bit. It just feels like it's jammed in there a bit. And I know that's a little bit nitpicky, but it's the primary elevation. But that's my only comment. Otherwise, I think it's appropriate. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Connie?
So my overall concern is the overall hierarchy and the diminutive front door. But saying that, looking at the streetscape and the area, I think, given the area and where it's located, it is appropriate, so.
Thanks,
leave it at
Connie.
That, thank you.
So appreciate the changes. This is not to diminish in any regard a Nantucket typical design. It has, 6/1 or 6/6, the massing, the dormers. It is appropriate for that area, which has many Nantucket typical designs. As like a style, this is the aggregation of the elements that we're seeing, the roof pitches, the way that the top plate on the second floor relates to the rafters, the rake boards, the extent of the overhangs, all of this it's a Nantucket typical design. It's emblematic of the structures in that area on that street, which are Nantucket typical. So I think it's completely appropriate as it is. And I would ask that we make a motion one way or the other.
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted with the dormer above the triple underneath the porch there, the north facing double window dormer to have the same shingle space that the triple does below it, like whatever that is, 6-8 inches.
I'm sorry, Angus, I'm not following you.
Oh, so in this elevation here, just that
Yes.
this space here matches the space that's down there
Oh, between the windows.
and pulls in.
Yeah, okay.
With that
Sure.
loss.
Do an exhibit
great.
A.
Well, I just want to be clear. You're saying basically compress the dormer such that the space, Robbie, are you catching this?
I'm listening, yeah.
Compress the dormer left to right such that the space between the windows matches the space between the windows below. So the question, and I think it's fair, even though we have a motion process, to understand if this is something the applicant would like to, is this something that fits your program or not? And if it doesn't, then we would ask for revisions.
I would prefer just to bring the windows together so that they match the width, the on center windows below it.
Just clarifying for you.
Yep.
That's not the motion.
Oh,
So if this were to pass, then you would have a pass and it might not fit your program. So you might want to say, well, if it's going to be that way, we haven't talked about this at the table and now we have
Okay.
a motion. So I'm trying to balance outcomes in a way that we don't have you come back
okay.
because you have an approval that didn't work for you. So as what I would actually say is this,
Well-
Angus, will you hold the motion for a moment and let's get some idea whether there's consensus on that?
I'll hold the motion.
Okay, thank you. Val,
I think it got unnecessarily complicated. It's to move the dormer in so it's not so smashed up against the other piece of the house.
well,
Sure.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Compressing the dormer left to right.
Right.
And what I'm trying to determine is if there's consensus before we go to a motion, because the end result could be that Robbie gets a yes, but it's not something that works for his client. Whereas the alternative would be that he says, I'd like to do revisions.
You know what? I just noticed something that might help this conversation because I was trying to you mind if can I just speak to the side elevation on this for a second? Because I was looking at the site plan and I was curious how this porch was working, and now I'm realizing the move you made to make this work, and I'm not sure that the dormer, I think the original approval might be superior, is where I'm going. If you look at the side elevation, the east elevation,
Who's steering this? Can you go to the east, please? Which is to say one of the two, the other side view?
yeah, and Robbie, I'm hoping that this actually helps you and it solves the problem. Yeah. So if we were there for a second. There you go. Yeah, so if you look at the top elevation, what happened is that whole mass, well, the ridge stayed, but the wall came forward. So if you look at the previous elevation, even though the eaves lined up with each other, there was a significant step back, and the porch was broken into these two pieces. And that, I believe, is still how the site plan is reflected. But the revised elevation, in order to get the porch go all the way across these two masses, and one's primary and one's secondary, the floor plan came forward, and then we ended up with a dormer. I actually think that there's some merit to and sometimes this happens, but in the previous application, the forward mass, the main mass, if you go back up a page, yeah, so the main mass before on the second floor stood forward about 4 feet from the one on the left, and that porch, I think, also came forward. And if you look at the site plan, which I think is up another page, the site, maybe, okay, there you go. So there's the new site plan has this porch come all the way across, but the previous site plan, it was stepped. So I actually feel like, in my opinion, the original submission showed more hierarchy between a primary and secondary mass, even though the eaves were lined up in elevation. I don't know if everybody else followed that, but it's yeah.
I don't think that's gonna help with the dormers in a sense. It's
Well, the
gonna help
dormer
with-
goes away.
Well, no, hold on a second. I think it helps the design discussion overall, so I certainly appreciate it. The dormers go away, but I mean, I guess what I was trying to say is I don't think it's gonna help with the motion, other than maybe the motion needs to just be reconsidered and we need to be discussing this topic that you brought up.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil the motion, but
No, I'm not suggesting that that's a bad thing. I mean, you brought up a point that's, I think, highly relevant that I don't know that others picked up on. I didn't pick up on it, and I think it's worthy of discussion. So let's continue.
I'm not going to blame anyone, but I'm going to take my motion from a hold and withdraw it for further discussion.
Okay, thank you. So Joe, you've stated the observation and opinion, which we appreciate, of the ramifications of the modification with respect to changing the secondary mass, which is part of the primary mass, changing that roof pitch. And it's almost like a salt box in a way, reversed.
Right.
And then how that affects the requirement for the addition of the dormers. Can we have the elevations up, please, again, Fiona, that show the last elevation we had? And then I want to go through quickly with the other members and see where they are. If they have a preference before we vote on one or the other. With that particular situation having been identified.
I think it's the next page.
I can reduce the width.
that. So guys, just to put a quick focus on it, the upper is obviously what's recently proposed. If you look at the primary mass, the larger structure, the secondary gable, which now has dormers, which we're seeing in the upper right, you can see the more salt box-ish aspect of the roof planes, which is to say the facade has a longer front rake than it used to have. That's because it's been lowered, it's been brought forward for the porch to extend, and the result for the program was the dormers were added. It also significantly changes the mass. When you get the perspective from this side, you understand the change in the mass that you don't see from the 2D front drawing.
Yes, and I was trying to break that down with the use of the
I
dormer.
understand you were just
Okay.
trying to accomplish what you were asked.
Yeah.
But I just want to point out that there is a change in the mass. If you look at the prior proposed submission, which is a smaller drawing. There's a dramatic difference in how that secondary mass of the primary mass relates to the primary mass. There's no setback anymore. Is that a concern for anyone?
And I know that, kind of, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
if you go up to the front elevation, one page, I think Ray, I don't want to speak for Ray, but my recollection when he said the porch go across, I think he was hoping that the porch went across the main mass, the mass with the door and the two windows, but it can't stretch across there because it hits a setback, and then you'd end up with a really skinny porch. And I think having a continuous porch that ties together a primary and secondary mass that are only slightly offset from each other, I think Robbie was on the right track previously. It's just the elevation doesn't read as broken up as it actually is, which you can see in the side elevation. So I think I would support your original approval, or excuse me, your original submission.
I could probably set that form back up to 2 feet.
Well, I'm sorry, repeat yourself?
A compromise between the two. You know, push that form back 2 feet so it's not.
On the current submission?
I'm just suggesting to alleviate everyone's new concern is that I push that form back 2 feet or so to give it a little bit more separation on that corner.
Right. I
The
just
only,
want to
sorry
make sure
to get it, I don't want to decide
hold
the
on.
table.
Hold on, Joe. I just want to make sure we're all clear.
Okay.
You're talking about with respect to the prior submission or the current submission?
I prefer this submission. I like the break
So
of the
when you
door.
say pushing it back, which are you referring to? Both?
The form that has the dormer in it right there.
Yeah.
I would prefer to retain the dormer because I like the break in the two fascia lines and push that back to 2 feet so that there's more separation between those the corner board and that
Okay, I need to
dormered
get
mass.
clarification because now the next step is, can we go to the other set of
Okay.
elevations?
Well, the porch roof will climb up and then you'll have to make your windows smaller. So it's probably fine. You know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to open up a can of worms. I would support either one.
So Robbie's
both
saying
have-
he would.
They both have their
Robbie's-
merits.
Thank you, Joe. Robbie's saying he could push back the face of the second story facade that's over this, shown in this drawing over the gable
Yeah.
porch. Yes, and Joe is pointing out that if you do that, the windows are gonna have to get smaller,
Oh.
which is gonna change the presentation. So I think where we are is that the clean, I'm just gonna lay this out. The prior approval was a cleaner presentation, and we can either determine whether we want to vote on moving that forward or not actually vote, but determine if we want to move forward with that or not. Or if you want to retain, if you want a modification to what you submitted today for review or submitted for today's review, that you would revise it so we can actually look at it.
Or I could get approval from what I brought in 2 weeks ago.
That's what I'm saying. I think we can discuss that.
I'm
As
open for
the
that.
option.
Sure.
Okay. Can we just focus on that? Joe is comfortable with the prior submission. Val, are you comfortable with the prior submission?
I was comfortable with it the last time he was here.
Okay, Val is comfortable with the prior submission. Connie? I'm sorry, except for the front door. Yeah, sure. Okay, and before we do a quick peek, Angus, you are not comfortable with the prior, you're comfortable with the prior
The,
submission.
so, I kind of thought, first of all, thank you, Joe, for catching that, that change, the relation of the north wall in relation to the east window closest to the north wall sort of was the same proximity. So at first glance, it really sort of looked like just the eave was dropping, which is what I was looking for, to give some sort of hierarchy between the main mass and the secondary mass. The setback does a lot for making it feel secondary. The eave dropping is another step that I think makes sense. So something in between, I think, works. So stepped back with a lower eave is what I think would really work there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Angus is prefers as appropriate a hybrid, which would require additional drawings, which is fine. I'm just trying to identify where we are so we can determine where to go. I think the prior is appropriate. Can we go to the front, the other set of elevations? Yeah, I think the prior is acceptable too. So it seems like there's consensus for even a majority vote on the prior. Do we want to see if there's a motion to that effect? Or
I'd
no?
make a motion to approve the original submission. And
Which one?
somebody mentioned a front door change. I don't see that, but
Yeah, I don't see it either. I thought that
so
was.
I guess my motion would just be to approve the original submission.
Okay, good. Thank you on your motion.
Aye.
Let's see, Connie.
And since it's broken up, I think the front door is much better defined, so aye.
Okay, fair enough. Angus.
Nay.
Angus is a no. Val.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So 4 in favor, 1 opposed for the record, Angus. That is gonna move us to, did you say one chair is being held?
Yes.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Yeah, we're gonna take a bio break. Going into the bio break, Rich.
Yes.
I just want to make you aware, we have a longstanding rule now that if someone isn't present at the beginning of the hearing, we hold for half an hour. So that would have put you at 4:40. And so we won't actually be hearing you tonight. But you will be first on the list for old business by moving that forward, right, Holly? Rich, you just need to go in and sign up for old business. And if you're not first, make an annotation for staff to speak to the chair, and then that will move you forward.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, and that's, I'm actually saying that I'm not even sure that's how we do it,
It's insane.
now that I think about it.
Even.
You'd be top anyways. Okay, that's where I didn't recall where we did that. Okay, so Rich, you're all set. We'll see you next week.
Perfect. Do I have to sign up tomorrow or no?
That you don't need to sign up, and we'll see you next old business meeting.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
And we'll have to review that if that becomes abused, but not suggesting Rich would be doing that. Okay, we're taking a 5-minute break. We'll be back at 6:19. level of diligence, just picking up the pace a little time. 198 Humming Pond. Matt, good evening. I want to just caution against repetitive comments from either party. Matt, when you're
Thank you,
ready.
Mr. Chair. I'm all for that. So you've seen this before. I'd say at the last hearing, the request was to detach the garage, which we've done. And then also reduce the center mass height, if you will. So we've dropped that. So there's an 18-inch drop between the two gable forwards and then the center connecting mass, if you will. So hopefully we've done everything you've asked. Again, we've agreed to the light gray trim and add the rafter tails to the one-story porches. Also had a quick rendering done that I'm going to pull up on screen just to show you what it looks like. And I think, Abby, you had talked about the massing and trying to drop that center connector piece. And so I think that was a great suggestion. Again, this is in the range of like 26, 27 feet. So just dropping that center section took actually quite a bit of work, and we lost some headroom in that center section, but we thought it was important to do. And I think it was a great suggestion. And as you can see from that rendering, I just think that this house is completely approvable and appropriate. So with that, look forward to comments from the board, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, your board is myself, Abby, Val, Angus, and Connie. Concerns, Val?
I thought it was approvable before albeit separating the garage. It looks like 200, the house close to it, very similar.
No. Okay, thank you. Angus?
Thank you for detaching the garage. I would, part of that for me was about not having it in the plane of the facade of the house. This I think really works. That's up on the screen now, the perspective, but what is clipped just to the left is a continuation of the garage. That is not dissimilar in volume to the end of the house. So for me, this is working quite well, but the garage I would want to have behind the gable that we're looking at to the left side of the house. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Connie? Basically, he wants to revisit the location of the garage relative to the house when the garage is up.
Oh, okay, perfect. I have no concerns. Thank you.
Abby?
Yeah, I'm fine with the architecture. My only concern is, if the garage is at the same level, it's gonna appear like a longer house. So I would like to actually see it in front of the house in that little corner of the driveway, but we're not there yet, so I'm good.
Well, now it's a
Thanks.
separate building.
Separate building, and so it'll be a separate application. I'll reserve my comments. Jason?
Thank you, Chair. I guess my main concern at this point, I appreciate all the changes that have been made. It's been, it's quite a bit different than the original submission. The west elevation is something I'd love to take a look at for you as a concern with the changes.
You can pull it up, right?
No, can you, Matt, if you're steering, if you're
He's-
steering, we can take steering back, but would be beneficial just to go to the west.
Is it common to have a butters dictate?
No,
design?
they can comment on the structure. It's just I just want to be very clear because this is procedural matter.
Is this funny?
If you're, Matt,
Wasting
please,
time of the
if
board.
you are sharing your screen as a convenience for your presentation, then we would ask that if we need to flip, you are driving. If you don't want to do that, then we would go back to not having you drive. Okay, we're at the west elevation. Jason, you have a comment? Please.
My main concerns are this, if I may. The visibility of the house still is present, and I think there has been changed, which is great. The west elevation, because of the drop in heights with ridges, the dorm is quite long, in my opinion, at 28 feet long. And if it was broken up into, say, 2 dormers, I feel like that would be more appropriate, and that massive wall of building might feel more not so and intrusive. This elevation, as is the front, is visible from, say, down the driveway. And the cheek wall of this dormer is a scant little sliver that I just feel it doesn't look, just looks odd. The rendering didn't show this elevation. So if you did, you would have seen from the north elevation that the cheek wall really seems kind of odd, and the dormer seems a little squat. To me, other than the fact that the house itself doesn't really come from the context of the surroundings. The only concern I have is the clearing of the driveway. At the parking court, I know my neighbor at 196 has that same concern, and the worry is that as clearing is made for the driveway and circle, that more of the house would be visible, and then there would be more concerns. So if the applicant can say that they're going to keep that visibility, maintain that vegetation somehow, that'd be appropriate, I think. So thank you.
Thank you, Jason. So I want to point out that we will be looking at a hardscape plan for the structure, and it will include the driveway. And the members are aware of the concept that we've all discussed of not having a straight shot, having either curve or serpentine and so on and so forth. So traditionally, and on this application, hardscape, including the layout and clearing, will be taken up as a separate matter, with all of us cognizant of concerns that have been raised. The west elevation, we appreciate your comments. I think it's clear that members are comfortable with what's been presented. I would like to look at, I just want to take a look at the front elevation, the 2D drawing, please, Matt. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood some relationships there. I have no concerns. Given the distance from the street, the vegetative buffer that will be retained, the similarities to other structures in the area. What do we want to do, folks?
I could try a motion to approve this. What's that? As revised.
As most recently submitted.
There you go.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, motion to approve the revised design.
Okay, thank you.
With changing the application for the color.
What is it?
Sure.
It said white originally.
Yeah,
Oh,
Matt, where did we land on that?
We put a color, and
great.
a swatch. So we can update the application if it's not.
Okay, so the motion, just for clarification purposes, is to approve the revised submission and modify the application to indicate gray trim and sash. And yeah, we'll go from there. On your motion, Abby.
Okay, I'm an aye.
Angus,
Hi.
Connie,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
and I'm an aye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt. 42 Monahasset,
That's me.
okay, and are you presenting or?
No,
Andrew?
I'm gonna present Andrew and he's gonna present.
just the church?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to keep this really tight.
42.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Andrew, do you want to share?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Val.
Okay.
So Andrew,
Uh,
where we were on this, Val, correct me if I'm wrong, is the side that has the stair and what the treatment would be, not necessarily the massing, but what the cladding would be.
Yeah, when you guys looked at this last, there was very little changes requested. It mostly concerned doors. Having kick panels on the side that faces the parking, and also for Andrew to come up with some material changes on the exterior stairwell. Andrew, take it away.
Thank you, Val. As Val said, this is our second time here. The only two comments were the doors that you see here in the rear west elevation, which had been 15 light, had been single light French doors, which we're now changing to 3/4 light single panel doors. And it had to do with right here in the right/north elevation with the treatment of the cladding for this bay. This bay is a outdoor staircase. I never wanted to fully enclose it or heat and cool it. So last time I had just screened it with a horizontal board, cedar boarding, gapped, 1x4s gapped at like 1/4 inch, just to keep it light and screen the staircase. Taking the commission's comments, what we've done here in the right elevation is add a vertical skirting of 1x4 boards with a small gapping. We have a white cedar sidewall in the middle, and then we've opened up the top, sort of a loggia-like look. We'd have a 1x8 painted trim around the columns. No one will be standing here and treating it like a loggia because the staircase goes up and lands, and only where you see door tag number 3 into the apartment can you stand. Otherwise, no one's ever going to be in this part right here. And so what you do have, if you look up to the rear/west elevation, is you see the same view, and there's no skirting here where my cursor is, because this is the top of an areaway of stairs, down to the basement. And ditto, this view, you see the stairs going up, the risers going up to the second floor. So that was my solution in how to treat this. Rather than screen the entire mass, we'd screen it only to 3 feet above the landing, keeping this open and light. Looks like a deck or a porch that has a knee wall, and then the vertical skirting below. And I think the doors are self-explanatory, and the doors are shown in the door schedule, also on the front page.
Thank you, Andrew. Myself, Abby, Angus, Connie, and Joe. Questions for Andrew?
I have a question.
Angus.
On the right side, the north elevation, what is that vertical boarding at the base of the stairwell? Is that what that's representing?
It's 1x6 boards, one very typical vertical skirting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? I have one. Andrew, you're familiar with the Garrison style, so you have an overhang around the second floor overhangs?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Garrison. Yep. Colonial. Yep.
All right. So is there any prohibition with your program in having the second floor mimicking a Garrison style at a 3-inch overhang so as to create a shadow line around the perimeter of this addition area that would project, say 3 inches out on both sides in the facade we're looking at that has the vertical board?
Sure. Let me just, I'm going to zoom in first. So are you talking about the equivalent of a water table, like right where my cursor is?
No. At the level of, so it's basically mimicking your soffit level. You would see the shadow line of the Garrison at the level of the soffit. So here.
Okay. So you're talking about this mass, not the larger mass behind it.
No, just the mass. I'm just trying to understand for purposes of question because it's formative in discussion. Further discussion, whether you can, modify the planes. So of the vertical element of the cladding of the stairway enclosure in such a way to differentiate the second floor from the first floor. That's question number one.
Okay, so so you'd want the break to be between the first floor and the second floor, and
Well,
you'd
I'm
want-
asking if that fits, I'm just asking if that fits your program with a 3-inch
Well,
jog.
I'm not sure because I'm looking to de-emphasize this. If there wasn't an apartment at all, I would keep the essence of this building purely institutional as a church. But we're adding a residential use, and I really don't want to draw attention to the residential use. I really want people to focus on the church part and not on the apartment above. So I kind of am not sure that differentiating the first and the second floor is really helpful.
Okay, so that, fair enough. And then on the vertical board, is there a programmatic reason for that, or can that be shingle?
The programmatic reason is to let a little bit of light and air in. And so that people going down, I anticipate that the areaway stairs down in the basement, which will be used quite often, because there's entertaining space in the basement and the dumpsters in the back. So I understand, I think people will be using the basement stairs quite often. I just didn't want them to not get a little bit of daylight. And I just wanted to treat it more like a porch than a wall, than a solid
Okay.
wall. That was my
Fair-
reasoning.
Fair enough, thank you. Okay, I will be commenting on those when I'm last, but I think there'll be perhaps helpful comments, but I needed that information. 42, let's see, Abby.
I appreciate, I think what really is making it for me is changing those doors to having panes and a kick panel. I think that really gives it some, I don't know, somehow it just grounds this whole building for me. I think it's fine. Yeah, very nicely done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Let's see,
I can go.
Angus.
I agree about the doors, and the stairwell was just one big blank wall before, and with an unusual cladding. To be consistent with the rest of the structure where there are shingled cottage corners, it seemed like a departure to have these trimmed posts. So I think that kind of draws attention to this porch situation on the second floor with the stairwell. And I think that there's room for a wide sort of shingle style a column instead of a single post, but to have something that's 12 or 18 inches wide. It looks like you're constricted one way, but not the other. So along the width way, like in the right elevation, that those would be shingle columns, but wider. And I think that it should carry through to the lower section as well. If a header is going across about the height of the, what would be a normal across above the door height on that first floor. I think that that's going to give you a lot of light into that stairwell either way. And you could carry through with the same columns that you have up above, but with clad in shingles. But that half shingled rail, I think, really makes a difference with breaking up the wall area and giving light on that side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Joe.
Thank you. I think this, we'll call it a porch, is clever, a clever way to break up that mass. And I can visualize what Angus just described. And I would also point out that you have what he's described around the main entranceway, which to me feels like you could bring that language to this element, I think that would be a nice tie-in. That said, I think it's secondary, and I don't know how visible that piece is on the back, but I think that would be a really nice move to follow what Angus just described. And I really appreciate the door change. Somehow that change alone just made a huge difference. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. Connie?
I have really nothing else to add. I agree with the west elevation. That was a concern, and I'm open to commissioner suggestions for that right north elevation. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we go to the site plan again?
Sure.
Andrew, that stairwell porch is on the lower
Right
portion.
here, right here where you see the areaway. Right here, we see the areaway. That's where the porch is.
Okay, so that is going to be visible from the parking lot. Okay, I just wanted to check on that. Can we go back to the elevation that shows the porch, the stairway enclosure?
Sure.
So my comment on Garrison was that if that's, I think that I don't think the vertical boards are appropriate. I think this actually creates atypical cladding that will be a kind of a focal point in an odd way, because it's almost like a place for something to be, but there's nothing there. It's not part of the vocabulary of the rest of the structure. I appreciate the work you're trying to accomplish with it. So, no shade there. The idea that Garrison was to differentiate in a coplanar manner, the facade, and have the lower portion either be shingle or open. I think if it's going to be open, which I agree with is more beneficial, or it should have the posts that extend down. It should basically, this looks like a 2-story porch. I think that's the functional presentation that's most appropriate. And if you need it to be enclosed but you need to have ventilation at some point, so basically what you're doing is you're replicating the upper open space on the first floor. And in either instance, if you need to have closure, you could put, simple, large pane sliding glass windows, as is common in these porches all over the island. So that's where I am on that. The other thing that I think is an important element is to lower the top plate of this addition by about a foot. And if you're concerned about your headroom inside, your ceiling joists can always just be raised. They can remain the height they're at, but lower the top plate. So you're also lowering the roof, the rafters, the ridge, everything comes down. We did this on the employee housing next to over here on Waite Drive. So basically, the top plates come down a foot. The interior of the ceiling remains where you need it to be if you need that additional height for a doorway or something. I don't think you're going to, but if you need it, you have it. And it creates a breakup in the eave on this the elevation presentation. Those are my thoughts.
We only are here till 7, so.
Oh, so, yeah, so, you just want to drop the residential,
Well, I would-
massing to 1 foot?
I would basically drop this portion
Yeah.
a foot.
Yeah.
And then I would replicate this below. And it looks
Okay.
like a 2-story porch.
Okay. Yeah.
I understand that, and I think I'm fine with that. I think the top plate is only around 7 feet, but I think I can make this work with the cathedral ceiling. The door will still have a full height. In regards to the shingled columns, the issue I have with that is that I really don't want the staircase to be visible. And if you simply have those columns, you're going to catch glimpses in between the columns of the staircase. And I would need some panel, and a glass panel is not going to do it for me. This is not about glass, and I don't. And even if it was, I don't want this wood staircase being seen. So, you know, if a shingled wall was recessed 3 inches behind the face of a shingled column, I could probably live with that. But I think just I like the idea, particularly at the loggia level, maybe of fattening up those columns. You know, wall becomes column, but I don't like taking them all the way down to the top of the concrete areaway. This wall sits on the top of the basement areaway. So it doesn't, it doesn't have a foundation the way the rest of the building does. It's really just,
Andrew?
yeah.
I just, based on your comment, I want to make a clarification I think is relevant. No, I don't think Angus was suggesting, and I'm certainly not suggesting that the columns in open space would go down to the concrete. I think to the top of the foundation, what we're suggesting, I think collectively, is that you would replicate the second floor, which includes the sill and a shingle wall below it, on the first floor.
Okay.
And therefore you would have a much smaller window, no pun intended, to view the stairwell.
Okay.
Um, so
So are you saying there'd be no shingled wall left, that it would, I'm not sure how much mass, you're saying just from the first floor plate down to the grade, there'd be this column? I'm not sure vertically what you're describing.
no, I think, yeah, I think, let me try again. You're basically going to be taking the, if you were looking at a cross section of the structure, this portion of the structure, and you're looking at the second floor, and you see the exterior wall, let's say you do a cross section, you're looking at it directly, you see the exterior wall on your right, you'd see the open space represented by where the columns are.
Yeah.
And then above it, you would see the beam with the fascia. What I think we're suggesting is you would literally cut that piece out and move it down to the first floor level, and you would have a replication. So you would have a sidewall up to a sill on the first floor from the foundation height. Then you would have the same height window opening, whether there's a window in it or not, the opening. And then above that, you would have the trim for the opening, and then you would have shingles up to the second floor opening where you show the sill. So you're literally replicating it on the first floor.
May I make
Okay,
a suggestion,
No,
please?
I'd like to please get clarification on the point before we go on tangents. You're welcome to speak. I just want to make sure Andrew understands what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Andrew?
you're talking about replicating the openness of the second floor loggia on the first floor.
At the exact same height relative to the floor level with the shingle wall on the outside, the exact same way.
Okay, and then, um, you would maintain that, the sill, the sill, which is right now about 3 feet above the second floor threshold, that would remain, and that would be trimmed out, columns.
Yeah, you basically would look like the second floor on the first floor.
Okay.
All the dimensions would be the same relative to the floor heights. Angus,
Okay.
is that where you were suggesting?
Yeah, it would be like you had just the same detail that you have on the second floor. You would have a first floor, what would look like a porch, even though you have a stair behind it, it would be like a 3-foot wall above floor height. And then just the column between there and the next band of shingle that goes up to where you have it
Okay.
at the
Yeah.
top of the
So
rail on the second
right now on the second floor, the band is about 3 feet above the threshold of that door. So I think everyone's saying lower that band a little bit to the second floor.
No, Andrew, no. Val, please.
It's not fair to everyone else who's waiting. You can do
Val.
an Exhibit A.
Val, if you want to facilitate the meeting, you can address
You
that.
told me to try and keep
Val.
everything short.
We're working through a design, and your interrupting is not helping that. There's no benefit to have this return and have to go through this again when we're close to a resolution. So thank you. I appreciate you're trying to help other people, but our job is to finalize what we're working on and then move on, not to try and squeeze everybody in before 7 o'clock.
No, but you've
Thank you,
also,
Val.
they don't
Thank you. You're
design
out
the
of order.
table.
You're out of order. Thank you. Andrew, we're not saying to move anything on the second floor.
Okay.
We're simply saying, look at the cross section,
Got it.
remove the wall on the second floor or duplicate the wall on the second floor and put it in at the first floor level.
Got it. Okay.
Okay?
right. Yep.
Does that work for you?
Yeah. Okay. So we're basically, if we were in a model, the band at the top of the vertical skirting comes down, let's say, to the concrete, and with it, the shingles come down to the concrete.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, it would just be exactly replicated.
Okay.
And we would do that as an exhibit A if there's support for it,
Yeah.
which I think there is.
Do you also
No.
want to, did you also want to bring down the height?
And the height of the top, the
Yeah.
top plate would come down. And we would say between 9 inches and a foot, and you work out the design. We just want to differentiate the eave.
Yep. That I'm clear on. So I understand what you're saying now, but so we would not end up with any shingled columns the way we do at the main entrance though, right?
No, you would have columns on the first floor, columns on the second floor. They would be in alignment horizontally, and they would be the same vertical dimension.
Okay. Got it.
Okay?
Yep.
Joe, is that representative of what you were thinking too, or is that something derivative that you think is appropriate? And I want to just get a quick feedback before we decide if we're going to motion.
Well, I was jumping off of Angus's comment regarding the shingle posts. I like where this is all going, and I think it's appropriate. So I have no objections.
Angus, are you cool with doing an exhibit A? Seems like you're supportive of this.
I am.
Okay. Abby, any additional comments?
No, I'm.
Excellent. Can we get a motion? The exhibit A would be to replicate the second floor cross-sectional wall on the first floor and to lower the second floor top plate and the ridge roof structure approximately 9 inches to a foot.
Shown in Exhibit A. That's my motion.
Excellent. Thank you. On your motion,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. And now we do not have this coming back next week. Okay, we are now on to,
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
thank you. We are now on to 15 Orange Street. Val,
159.
we have, am I missing something? Oh, sorry, I've got some pencil marks there, pen marks. 159 Orange Street, please.
Okay, this was held for minor revisions, mostly having to do with doors and windows on the front facade. It was felt like it was too busy with too many doors on the second floor. We didn't need the rafter details. It's appropriate for the area. Joe suggested a single door and 2 windows with a continuity of pane size on the second floor. And Stephen, you wanted the windows to balance on the facade better, so we got rid of the little skinny windows that were next to the picture windows, and everything is now a window of the same size. We lowered the posts so that the porch roof didn't pinch the windows on the second floor so much that we're leaving for egress size. And the balcony, we removed the corner board, so it's just a simple wall of shingle, and that was the requests.
Thank you. Your board is myself, Ray is not here. Carrie would be up, but she's not an alternate on this. It will be myself, Abby, Angus, Joe, and Connie. Concerns?
I appreciate all the changes, Val, and then this really got fine tuned, and I think it's a handsome structure.
Thanks, Joe.
I concur.
Connie. Thanks, Connie. Angus?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this has come a long way. I I think I'm in the minority who's trying to prevent the first balcony above a front door facing the road for all of Orange Street from Main Street to the Rotary. But the rest of it, I feel like the revisions have really brought it together. Thanks, Val.
Thank you. Let's see, Abby?
Yeah, I'd like to see that center window on the second floor instead of being are they all windows? Val?
No, it's a door in the middle and two windows.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I tried to keep the pane size the same size.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, is there any way to, I don't know, it's the balcony. The balcony on the second floor is the only thing I have, an issue with. Are the doors, it says the panes are cobblestone and the doors are what color?
The windows are black and the trim is gray.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, I think I keep crashing, so I couldn't tell. So I thought it said the trim was cobblestone and the sash was black. Is that right?
It's a gray, I just put gray.
Right, okay.
I didn't specify.
And so the doors would probably be
Black.
black. And that's a shingled balcony, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's it. It's only the balcony that I have an issue with.
Okay, thanks. Val, I appreciate the changes. I think the detailing is good. You went with the more of the plank frame trim, it looks like in the drawing. Is that correct?
I didn't change it because I think in the drawing it looks the same.
Oh, okay, because I mean, to me, it looks like, so are you doing the 5/4 head casing and the
I had that to start off
the
with, yeah.
6/4? Okay, so that's
Yeah.
reminiscent of Zero May. Plank frame windows. Okay, just verifying. Does it indicate that in the application so that's clear for parties other than yourself? and
No, we
us?
can write it
Okay.
in there.
Then my only concern is I understand the concerns about the second floor deck. I am not as concerned that this is something that's gonna happen up and down Orange Street. It's, we make a decision independently. And I think that the structure can carry the weight and it's also a residential space. So for me, it's okay, subject to downsizing the windows. I think that they are too close to the left and most extreme edges of the sidewall deck or the sidewall rail, the parapet wall. And I think if you bring those in, make the lights an inch less per, they'll each be 3 inches smaller, the windows left to right. And if you need to downsize the height, that's okay too. So basically you'd be taking them down, I think 2 sizes.
On just those two.
Just those 2 windows. So
Okay.
they're not filling that space. It's
Where the
too tight.
parapet is.
Yeah, so basically the windows would be more comparable to the width of the door
Okay.
than to the
Yeah, yeah.
other windows.
So all the windows say the same, just in that parapet area? Or
Those would come down.
Okay, all right,
They
got it.
would be downsized.
Right.
So those are my only comments, with potential concerns and, so relabel the trim
That
as,
would also reduce the
Plank
size of
percent.
the whatever that is, parapet.
my only concern with that, Abby, is if then we're in the same situation where they're pressing against the window trim and there's no.
Okay, okay.
You know what I
got it.
mean?
Yeah.
It's-
mhm.
Okay, I mean, we can do what you all want. I just wanted to state.
I would motion with also the comment that I think the deck being shingled mitigates its presence as a deck. In fact, you didn't even recognize that there was a door behind there. And I also agree that it won't lead to a proliferation of them.
So that sounds like you're offering an exhibit A that addresses the windows there and the, a notation that the, application will state plank frame like trim. Is that right, Joe?
Yeah, I could do an exhibit A. I don't know if it'll be discernible. It's probably best just with annotations, in my opinion.
Well, the thing is that the way staff process these, the exhibit A is actually, that would be a staff approval.
I can do one.
And it's a different process and it takes longer.
Okay, I can do it. I can mark it up with notes.
Okay, thank you. So that's Joe's exhibit A motion, on your motion, Joe.
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Angus,
No,
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 Connie,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Record reflect 4 in favor, 1 opposed, Angus. Okay, we are at 7 o'clock for all intents and purposes. And we have minutes to approve. Does anyone have revisions or comments on the minutes of March 17th?
No.
No? Does anyone have a motion on the minutes of March 17th?
A motion to approve the minutes of March 17th, 2026.
Okay, and we'll do, Joe, can I pull you in on that?
Yeah.
Okay, on Connie's motion, Connie,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Angus.
I'm abstaining.
Angus abstains. I'm a no. I didn't read them. For the record, 3 in favor, 1 abstention, Angus, 1 no, Welch. Okay, our next meeting is, as you know, next Tuesday, which is. Oh, our next meeting is not next week. Our next meeting is the 28th, April 28th.
28.
Did everybody sign this?
198. Mr. Chair, I'm going to be gone.
Oh, you're so excited.
I feel bad for the people who were here.
I know.
I-
That,
You know what? They're on.
24th to. Right. Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Um,
You're gonna be away.
April 24 to May 6.
And are you zooming at all?